presence, presence with life, with ourselves, presence with all our experiences as they are, in this moment. And this module is rightly called Be Here Now. There's also a book um, by Ram Das, a similar title. And and we've seen through the week some science on what presence can do. So it's not just something that we talk about, say, as say a meditation practice, or there's nothing esoteric about presence. It's very logical as to why presence can make us feel better, make us more productive, make us more responsive, and keep us, grounded at our best, both both in actions and how we feel. So, as we do, we'll start with just a very short practice to feel our presence and to be more present with the session, with how we are today. And for that, I invite you to sit straight. You could even be lying down, you could be walking. And if you are sitting or if you're lying down, you could close your eyes, lower your gaze. And we're going to practice the simplest thing, which could also be sometimes the hardest, which is just staying here. So taking your time to settle in. Then feel your feet. So we feel them, the weight, the temperature, the surface they're resting on. You could press the feet together or gently into the ground. Feeling your hands where they are resting. Becoming aware of the texture of what they touch. Taking a slow breath in through your nose now. And notice the air entering you. Is the air cool or warm? So be present with the temperature. Feeling your body respond, feeling your chest expand or your belly expand. And now listening without any searching, so just receiving whatever sounds I hear. Distant ones, near ones. Is there any sound beneath the sound? And if you find your mind wandering, which it will, just gently noticing it and maybe thinking about the thinkings. You could say, I was thinking about this, giving it a label, and coming back. And as we said, every return is the practice. So taking in everything, your feet on the floor, your hands resting, the breath moving, there are sounds arriving. And this moment, exactly as it is what life actually is. So be very present with all of this and setting an intention for your practice today, for your time here. And with that, coming back to being aware of the room you're in, and then slowly and gently you can open your eyes. Now, we've been talking about presence, awareness, attention. And if we had to think about, what was an ordinary day from your life, if you had to relive it exactly as it happened, would you? Not like a big day of your graduation or a wedding, just a random Thursday. Would you remember even what you ate? Uh, how was, how was the evening sky? Did you feel, what was the smell in your home? Probably not, because we we usually um, we're not very present with every, all of the moments of our life, and you know, people can sometimes say that life is not moving, nothing is happening, it's dull, it's stagnant. But if you think about it, it's just made up of, ordinary Thursdays, and we sleepwalk through most of them. So if we had to really think about, what life is, what it's made of, it's really not made of extraordinary experiences. So how we are living today, what we do on a normal day, what we are paying attention to on a normal day, how we are thinking, behaving, our habits of a normal day are actually what will or what constitute our lives, because that's what we are experiencing most of the time. Extraordinary events are extraordinary because they happen only once in a while. So, most of what we are experiencing, most of what we are living is ordinary. And yet, it's really important because how we think, behave, act, feel in this ordinary is what is reinforcing both the internal life that we have and what's outside. So, so then, rather than sometimes wishing for um, extraordinary things to happen or feeling like the ordinary is dull, we can perhaps start paying more attention to ourselves in the ordinary moments. Now, we also saw, I'll just recap because it's one of the important things that we spoke about being present. Is a study that was conducted in which uh, participants were randomly asked at random points in the day what they were thinking about and how happy they were. And what was found out was that the mind is wandering half of the waking hours that it's spending. And the second important part was that regardless of what someone was doing, if the mind was absent or if the mind was wandering more often, it was associated with lower happiness than being present. So say there's somebody who's doing something ordinary or even mildly unpleasant, but is present with that activity or that task, they were happier because their minds were with what they were doing. On the contrary, those people who were absent minded or who were thinking about something else, who were not present, reported lesser happiness. This tells us that its presence is key, really, to experiencing more joy in life, and that we can train the mind. So we could think and we could label ourselves as, say, having a distracted mind or I'm not good at focusing. We could make statements like that, but the good thing is, or the good news is that we can train the brain, and we can train the network of the brain that runs the background program so that it can focus more and it can um, make us more, present with everyday life. Now, um, when the brain has no specific task to focus on, and sometimes even when it does have a specific task to focus on, it activates the system in the brain. Now, this is the brain's background program. It is running our internal monologue, it's replaying things that happened. It also imagines things that might happen. Um, it's thinking about, how you're coming across, thinking about yourself. It's planning, worrying, composing. So it's this sort of, thing running in the background without really taking up or consuming your active um, mental space. Now, this mode, although this network is not bad, it's also where creativity happens, where we process our experiences, where we reflect. However, if we leave it unchecked or when it starts running unchecked as a habit, it takes away from the moments that actually deserve our presence. Now, um, it has also been seen in research that a mind that is present with real life, with actual life, produces more well being. There is more genuine connection, and it is more effective than a mind which is somewhere else perpetually. Now, how do we practice this? We practice this by a very simple technique, which is maybe just stopping and checking where we are. So, if we are doing something and the mind has wandered, noticing that and bringing it back. That is the entire practice. The noticing is the rep. So the more times that we notice that the mind had gone away and we return to whatever it is that needs our attention or that we're trying to do, the stronger the present circuit becomes. We can do this anywhere. We can do it while doing, routine tasks like folding the laundry. We can notice um, ourselves and catch ourselves really in the act and bring ourselves back. So, say, say you're watching something on the telly and you notice yourself, say, planning for tomorrow, or you watch yourself or you catch yourself, thinking about something, just checking in, bringing yourself back to what you're doing. You can do it in a conversation. Um, you can notice when you have started, say, preparing for your reply instead of listening, and then making yourself come back to what they're actually saying. Now, the more again we practice this, bring ourselves back to the task at hand, it continues to then change the way the brain operates. And if we practice this, say just a simple sitting down mindfulness activity, three minutes a day, after say about a few weeks, say 45 to 66 days, you begin to notice the wandering before it has fully happened. So the return time shortens. And your presence becomes more naturally available to you. So we all have, this opportunity to, if we find ourselves distracted or dispersed or scattered, to bring back the mind. And that I will discuss, in the end, a few techniques which we can do this, practice this. But what is clear is that one, the mind is wandering. That's a fact. We spend a lot of our time not being where our feet are, thinking about something completely different. And we also know that this is a habit. So this has come to be because we've left it unchecked. We can become more present by practicing the reverse. So the more we notice, bring ourselves back, and continue to do that again and again and again, the stronger our focus becomes, the more present we become. And with time, we are able to catch ourselves before we get consumed by, our thoughts. So, um, so we also know that there is a bias in our minds towards worry. We can be worrying. We can using past experiences to predict our future. We can think, we can have fears that come to mind when we're doing something that has nothing to do with that worry. And one way to calm ourselves or to again soothe ourselves if that happens a lot is by reminding ourselves that this is not something for me to deal with today. The future version of me will deal with it when it comes. So reassuring yourself in whatever ways or words you find that this is a problem for later. And with that, you can quietly let that worry pass by. Um, what also can happen is that, we've seen that if we are absent from daily life or if we are not as mindful, we can miss the nice things. We can miss looking at what's working for us, what's working in life. We can fail to see our blessings. And we've also been, the whole of last week, we spoke about the importance of gratitude, the importance of positive psychology, what it does to the brain, and how it enhances joy in our lives. And not just, as something that's flippant or that comes and goes, but it can create sustainable joy for us. So, um, again, how it links to presence is that when we start noticing what is maybe have always been available, but our blessings or that work for us, say our health, clean water, um, um, a comfortable bed, we can break or we can interrupt the habitual pattern of thinking about negative things or things that are not working in our life. And we can let the familiar things take on new meanings for us or at least feel like an experience, like as if you're meeting them again. So um, there would be, all of us have blessings that have become so familiar that we've stopped seeing it. So presence also helps us appreciate things that we just overlook or not pay enough credit to, not give enough importance to. Now, um, this is something, a lot of it comes on the internet that this question, what would you do if this was your last day? How would you spend it? Now, we know that the moment there is this pressure of a feeling like, okay, this is my last chance, so you have say it was an ordinary conversation, but you were told that this would be your last one with this person, how differently would you listen? Or say if you were told that this was the last sunset that you would ever see, would you hurry through it? Probably not. So, you know, again, not to make it like depressing or dark, but there is a mortality to life, and there is a finiteness to our time, to our life. It should make it feel more precious than daunting. So, um, so again, we could be taking things for granted. We could be taking our time for granted. We could be taking um, our blessings for granted. But with this perspective, that things change and nothing is guaranteed and our time is finite, it can encourage us to appreciate things more, to pay attention more, and I would go as far as to say that presence is the antidote to regret, because when we realize that there isn't enough time for anything, um, we there are hopes and there are dreams and there are aspirations that probably we want. So can we live our lives and make choices with that outlook that I can um, I can be present with what's important to me, and with that, it's almost a way of safeguarding, of reducing any future regret. But at the same time, it's also daily choice. It's not one big decision. So when we decide to keep the phone away, maybe to look at the face of someone who's talking to us, or when we can put our phones away at the dinner table because we can be present with our meals. Mm, when we can put work away if we have only an hour to play with the kids. This is it's a choice. It's a choice we make because it's habitual for us perhaps to be on screens and to not be where we are, but we're also missing out on those moments, and we also know that not like being on the phone is making us very happy. So as a practice, there are certain times in the day when maybe we can intentionally just be okay to be bored. We spoke about boredom yesterday, and just be comfortable with not being productive, not doing anything special. Uh, just be at the table, just be in the conversation, just be with the kid, and 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 that can itself be healing. It can release our stress. Also, um, in our relationship to ourselves, because we become the person we become, or we start strengthening the things that we are paying attention to within ourselves. So attention also is shaping our own identity. Every day we are changing, we're becoming someone. So um, our attention can make us become someone who's, say, more anxious, more hurried. It can also make us become someone who's more grateful, who's more curious, who's more awake. So we can shift our attention on ourselves in a way that we can amplify, or we can connect with better our strengths. We can focus more on what's good in us, focus more on our capabilities, mm, give more credit to ourselves than sometimes we do. So, so attention in that sense is also an active way to connect with us and also with our body. Sometimes, we don't even know that we are stressed. We don't know if the shoulder is tired. We've not paid attention. So, a good practice again is to at least once in a day check in with the self, ask ourselves how we are doing, how we are feeling. Do we need anything? How's the body? how's our mind, how's our thought. So with yeah, I mean that's all I guess I had to say on attention. But to end this, maybe we can reflect on a few things and make a few commitments to ourselves. So for that, I again would just request you to close your eyes and really making this commitment to yourself. So almost like a, like a manifesto that you sign with yourself. And the first one is, I will notice when my mind has wandered without criticizing myself. So this is the practice of, returning to the present moment, catching ourselves like we've been talking about. And then once we catch ourselves, we bring ourselves back. So I will notice when my mind has wandered without criticizing myself. Repeating it to yourself silently in your mind. I will notice when my mind has wandered without criticizing myself. Now, the second one, I will protect moments of silence instead of filling every gap. So, having space in the day for the mind to relax so that it can be creative, it can get insights. I will protect moments of silence instead of filling every gap. I will protect moments of silence instead of filling every gap. The third one, I will pause before reacting. 3 deep breaths can change a conversation. I will pause before reacting. So before we hit send, taking a few deep breaths, repeating silently in your mind, I will pause before reacting. The fourth one, I will treat ordinary moments as worthy of my full attention. Most of our lives is happening in the ordinary. I will treat ordinary moments as worthy of my full attention. I will treat ordinary moments as worthy of my full attention. And the last one, I will remember that my attention is shaping the person I am becoming. I think this one is so important. Every moment, every day, our attention is actually what's shaping us. So I will remember that my attention is shaping the person I'm becoming. I will remember that my attention is shaping the person I'm becoming. And with that, opening your eyes were closed. So over the last, 4 days, we've been discovering lots about attention, that mind will wander, that's its nature. It's attention that shapes our experience, that is its power. We also saw that space allows awareness to return. That's the practice. We saw that it's presence that can transform, our ordinary life into a life that's deeply lived and felt. And that's a gift we have. We don't need a different life to feel more alive. We just need to build perhaps a different relationship with the life we already have. So So yeah, not waiting for a special life, a special day, and treating today as important and as worthy of all our presence and all our attention. So that's all I had to say on this. Thank you. Thanks for listening, for practicing together. Uh, Anything you'd like to share or any questions, we could take them now. Else, we meet tomorrow again at the same time. And yeah, we are here every day at 7:30 AM EST. You could join us from wherever you are. And if you have any topics that you'd like us to speak on, then please feel free to share them. Thanks again for being here. And see you tomorrow. Have a good day wherever you are. Bye.